Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to show you how to make this wonderful breakfast white bread from my childhood. Back in the Soviet Russia, bread was so important for every family. On Saturday morning, my dad would go to the bakery and he would buy this bread, and we will enjoy it on Saturday and Sunday. It has a very springy texture. It does not fall apart when you apply butter to it. It does not crumble. It had some kind of like a bite to it. And of course, we would enjoy it with the butter and honey or jam, or would make a sweet French toast out of it. Back then, and I'm talking 80s and 90s, this bread had almost a buttery taste because they added margarine to the dough. Over the years, this recipe was modified to much healthier version, and that's what we're making today. Using the kitchen scale, we will measure out 350 grams of all-purpose flour. I have to tell you, I'm not using all-purpose flour today. I'm just trying to a new flour that I haven't used. It's called the white lily flour, and I figured out that flour is much softer, so it needs a little bit more as you would use for a recipe. So for white lily, if you're using that one, is going to be 350 grams plus 3 tablespoons, and I could show it to you at the end. But just measure out your flour, and it's always good to sift your flour. I am going to be using the stand-up mixer to mix my dough, so I am sifting the flour directly into the bowl of a stand-up mixer. White lily flour is much softer flour, so it clumps up easily. As you could see, you could double sift the flour if you are not happy with the results. We will need 7 grams, which is 2.5 teaspoons of instant dry yeast, and I like these packets. Just open a packet and add it to your flour. We also will need 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Then take a spoon or a whisk and then just combine all the dry ingredients together. And as far as the liquid, we will need 210 milliliters of warm water that is microwaved for 30 seconds, to which we're going to add 30 grams of vegetable oil, and I always use avocado oil. And then we're going to pour our liquid into our flour and salt and sugar and the yeast, and we're going to start mixing it on a very low speed. We're going to wait until this picks up all the flour, and when it does that, we will be able to figure out how much more flour we have to add. So starting at 1 tablespoon at a time, we're gonna add the flour, and it's much easier to add the flour than have a clumpy dough and then start adding liquid to it. So I prefer to use it this way. And so I added about 4 tablespoons, and once again, this is a white lily flour, so it needs a little bit more flour to the liquid we added. If you're using the all-purpose flour, that liquid should be enough for 350 grams of flour. Knead it for about 10 minutes until the dough looks all uniformed, and it's ready. We're just gonna put a little bit of oil in a container where you're gonna be proofing the dough, and so it doesn't stick to the container. And look at the texture of this dough. It's just so amazingly beautiful. It's so silky and smooth and does not stick to your hands. It has a very smooth texture, so you could tell right away your bread is going to be extremely delicious and beautiful. So we're just going to form a log, and then we're going to drop it into this oiled container. Close the lid, or you could use the bowl, and we're just gonna cover it with the kitchen towel, and leave it to rise for about 45 to 60 minutes until it doubles or triples in size. Then to bake the bread, I'm gonna use simply a baking tray. Mine is 10 by 15 by 1. I'm gonna line it with a parchment paper. Look what our dough looks like. It has tons of bubbles. It tripled in size. I'm gonna apply a little bit of oil on the silicone mat so we could form the bread and take your dough out. Don't knock all the air out of it, and just simply make a rectangular out of this dough that we just took out. And we need to start rolling it into the log. Roll it, and then you see those seams that you have, you need to pinch them together so your bread also looks good on the other side. And then just form the log and like that. And then we're just gonna put it on a baking tray lined with parchment paper. It's not going into the oven yet because it still has to proof for about 20 minutes. So we're just gonna lightly cover it with the kitchen towel. We're gonna create a little air pocket for this bread so it grows in there, rises, and then leave it for 20 minutes. To score your bread, you're gonna need this bread lame, and this one I'm using second time. I actually like it a lot because the one I used before, the old-fashioned wooden one, and you have to kind of bend the razor in order to put it in there. I was always afraid to cut myself, so we're just gonna see what this one looks like and whether it's gonna be more convenient to score the bread with this one. And I could tell right away I need to have a little bit more of the razor blade showing, and this is it. It's perfect. To make your bread look pretty on top, that has that glossy top, we're gonna combine 1 egg yolk and 1 teaspoon of milk, and that's gonna be something that we're gonna brush over the bread. So as you can see, our bread has risen for a second time and it looks fluffy and puffy. With the bread lame, we're gonna make a diagonal cuts, spreading them apart about 1 inch. And as you can see, I got carried away a little bit. I don't know why I made that last one. And then we're gonna brush the mixture of the egg yolk and the milk over the bread. It's gonna make the bread look very glossy on top. Gonna give it a nice color too. So just brush it over and make sure it doesn't splatter too much on your baking tray. So pick up those bits so they don't burn, and brush the bread all over and even a little bit on the side too. And if you want, you can sprinkle some sesame seed or poppy seed on top of your bread, or leave it as is. And it's ready to go into the oven at 375 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes until it's golden brown. So we're gonna take it out, and I see I picked it up with my glove and I made a little dent into the bread because it's very soft. We're gonna transfer it onto the cooling rack and sprinkle some water over the crust of the bread and cover it with the towel. This will make your bread very soft, and then let it cool a little bit, and your bread is ready. And as you can see how beautiful this bread is. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my other social media platforms where I post a lot of short videos. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.